The fix is in. The Sports Fix.
Portions of the Sports Fix brought to you by GV Art and Design. It's not just a shirt, it's a statement. GVArtwork.com.
Sports Fix listeners, don't wait all day or all week to get in on the fun. The party doesn't stop when we go off the air all week long. The Sports Fix social media sites are your one-stop shop for all things Cleveland sports. Jump over to Facebook.com/TheSportsFix, Facebook.com/TheSportsFix, and become a fan today because we love fans and they create some of the best sports talk in town, Daddy. You'll enjoy talking to your fellow Cleveland sports fans on the Sports Fix fan page. And if Twitter's your thing, well, you know how we do it. Tweet with us at the SportsFixCLE. It's that simple. Twitter.com/TheSportsFixCLE, baby. Chat live with the crew during all your favorite Cleveland sports events, tickets and contests and trivia and so much more. Get with us today, the Sports Fix on social media. Facebook.com/TheSportsFix. Tweet with us at the SportsFixCLE. Join the Sports Fix on Facebook and Twitter today.
Hey Cleveland, this is Anderson Varejão of the Cleveland Cavaliers. You are listening to the Sports Fix.
Live in Ohio, it's time to get your fix. The Sports Fix.
How to do, everybody? Welcome in. Wow, that escalated quickly last night. Welcome into the Sports Fix. J-Rock, Jerry Myers, kicking things off, cracking the mic, and absolutely. See, I was getting things ready here. It's funny. Yeah, I saw the last comment there in the chat room from yesterday's show because they don't go away. And happy to report Charles Morgan was wrong. And I'll tell you what, though, not hard to understand why. And I'll tell you, the backlash that I've seen, not like locally, social media, I'm talking all over the place, nationally. Man, some people are mad that Corey Kluber upended Felix Hernandez to become the American League Cy Young Award winner for 2014. And I'm telling you, man, especially if you go look, and I mean, look, I understand, I totally get that it's a subjective argument. Look, Felix Hernandez and Corey Kluber were, man, that's a tough call, even being a Cleveland guy, because the numbers, I mean, in every category that you can lean Kluber, you can look at some other ones and go Felix Hernandez. Absolutely. Being totally fair, you'd be wrong if you didn't admit that. But like I said yesterday, I thought when you take into account the second half of the season, down the stretch, how they performed in a pennant race, I thought the edge goes to Corey Kluber, and I was actually shocked that the voters did that because I thought it was kind of a bold move, really. The easy thing is to say, hey, Felix Hernandez did it before, did it again. He set records this season. I mean, there's a lot of people that say, man, how can you break a 43-year-old record and not get the Cy Young? How is that it turned out to be a season with multiple pitchers deserving of being the Cy Young? That's how people get all bent out of shape about it. Like, some years there's a clear-cut winner, whether it's an MVP, whether it's a Cy Young, whatever you want to fix the award as. Some years it's a runaway. It's, hey, man, it's that guy, and everybody else is playing for second. And some years you've got two guys who should be able to split the award in half. They were that good and that neck and neck with each other. But yeah, man, like I saw on my Twitter, right, after Kluber gets announced as the winner, and you know, of course Cleveland Twitter's going nuts and they're doing their thing, and I saw some people talking about the bias. Exactly, Bruce. I wouldn't have been mad either way because really it was such a close call. But I saw some people go, man, this is nuts, the bias. And people are flaming the Indians. And I'm thinking, wow, maybe that's like your Twitter timeline because, you know, I mean, I don't know. I could see an East Coast bias. I know that. But, I mean, the Midwest, the Cleveland bias? I mean, what exactly were we the beneficiaries of? I'm just curious. What exactly was Corey Kluber and the Indians the beneficiaries of? Because they obviously didn't get the big market bias. They don't get that. They didn't get the East Coast bias. They don't get that. They didn't get the I don't know. I'm just saying, man. I'm not sure exactly. I'm not used to this world that we apparently live in where things are happening unfairly for Cleveland. I went and looked around some not message boards, but on like the news sites, ESPN, whatever, Yahoo, they got comments after the news articles, and I sat and just scrolled through maybe, there was like 500 comments, but I only got through like the first 50 or so on one of the Kluber articles, and I could not believe it. I said, wow. But I'm like, I woke up in this bizarro world. Apparently you guys as well. Welcome to this bizarre world where apparently, according to some people, the world is unfairly slanted towards Cleveland. Yes, I know. Many of you are sitting out there right now going, damn, I wish somebody would have told me about this a long time ago, because I've been living in the other Cleveland where that's not the case whatsoever. Get out of here with that. But I mean, there are some people up in arms, and I totally get it when your address is in Washington. You know what I mean? I totally get it when you're in that area. I get it. Then you're mad, just like we'd have been mad if Kluber didn't win it. But man, I mean, there's people everywhere saying. I mean, it's one thing to say I don't agree, but I mean, Kluber robbed King Felix, according to many people, and then according to many others, the baseball writers, for one of the rare times, got it right, and that's truly what I think. I think that they were able to look past the easy decision, and I don't even want to call it that, but the more acceptable decision, easy. You lay that out there, and people aren't arguing with you whatsoever. But I believe they got it right, and I'll tell you what, it's not going to happen. It's 0.01% chance of it happening, but. You think they lost their mind over Corey Kluber? Could you imagine? Could you imagine if Michael Brantley won the MVP? Maybe a epileptic seizure occur at the same time tonight. Now, obviously, that is not happening. That Mike Trout has that thing all but sewn up as far as I'm concerned. But just saying, man. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Talking about things on Twitter, I see LG in the chat room talking about Mickey Callaway. Forget Jim Thome. Forget anybody else. That's the next statue that the Indians need to build over there at Progressive Field, is they need to build the Mickey Callaway statue now and just have every pitcher, rub it. You rub the rock like you do or whatever. Everybody's got their traditions at different stadiums, and you walk past the Callaway, and that's what they call it, giving Callaway the rub. You walk past it, and you get that lucky rub on it as you walk out to the mountain. No, seriously, though, an amazing job. Speaking of amazing, we mentioned it on yesterday's show. Not just does that apropos describe the season that Corey Kluber had, but man, Indians now, even though they didn't draft and develop, they did develop them, but they didn't draft them all. 3 Cy Young winners in the past 8 seasons, and obviously we know 2 of those went on to be traded, and they've now the 4th Cy Young winner here for the Indians in Corey Kluber. But yeah, man, in 8 seasons, I mean, that's a hell of a window of great pitching that the Indians, think about it, in between, because how many playoff seasons have you had in that stretch? But in between some mediocre baseball, some really bad baseball, and like 2 really good baseball seasons, you get to see 3 Cy Young seasons out of starting pitchers, which for some of you will make you even more mad at the ownership. I totally understand that, because there's a leg to stand on there and say, man, had all that and didn't have anything to show for it. But get that out of the way for now. I'm not in that mindset right now. Maybe we'll go that way with Mike Brandenberry here when he joins us in a little bit. But man, you got to see 3 Cy Young seasons in less than a decade here in Cleveland, and for a team that has not contended for much of that time. It's a pretty fluke set of circumstances that I'll point out again, this team may not be able to identify their own talent, but they can damn sure find guys in other teams' farm systems and develop those guys into becoming something. That's for sure. I'm telling you, that's the whole secret. Forget free agency. And speaking of free agency, let's bring up there as well Victor Martinez. That pipe dream didn't even get a chance to get in the ether, even if the Indians, which for all intents and purposes, they may be able to pretend now that they would have, and maybe they were going to talk to him, but it didn't get there. Victor didn't talk to anybody else. His first conversation, sat down with Detroit, gave them the opportunity to make him an offer. Bam, they dropped a contract on him that he could live with. He's getting paid. It's a 4-year deal, probably the final big investment, big money deal Victor's going to cash in here on his career, and he's going to stay in Detroit. So just like that, I mean, really, yesterday morning, Dave Dombrowski was saying, hey, our number one goal re-signed Victor Martinez. By 5 hours later, word was coming out that the deal was getting done and that they had put it together relatively quickly there. So Victor Martinez, you don't even got to worry about it. And maybe that's a good thing for Indians fans and all that. You don't even get your hopes up. Don't even get fired up and then get mad at the Indians for something that maybe they weren't even considering doing anyway. So that just takes that out the pipeline. But Victor Martinez, a big piece, not only to the Tigers, but a potential loss from the Tigers that a lot of people were anticipating. A lot of us just took it as a foregone conclusion. Now, maybe not that he'd end up here in Cleveland, but a foregone conclusion that he was going to not be long for the Tigers, and that turned out to be not true. They knew that whatever decline they may be facing in the next few years, which it's not going to be a drop-off, but it's coming, it would have been highly accelerated had they lost Victor Martinez here as well. But you know what? I don't know. They do a good job of replacing him, too. But they don't have to replace Victor. So there you go. And maybe, like I said, that's a good thing because nobody gets their hopes all up in the sky. Nobody gets mad at the Indians for not doing something that they may have never had any intention of doing to begin with. So it is what it is. Victor Martinez signs for another 4 years with Detroit. Mike Brandenberry from DidTheTribeWinLastNight.com. He's going to join us here a little bit later here in hour number 1, and we're going to talk to him about all of that, about the fantastic season that Corey Kluber had that ended in a Cy Young Award. We'll talk to him about Victor Martinez, the winter meetings, Michael Brantley here, and just being there. Like I said, just being in the finals, just being a top 3 type candidate to me goes a long way for Michael Brantley, especially with the season that he had here. So, but we'll talk about all of that with Mike Brandenberry from DidTheTribeWinLastNight.com coming up. Coming up next, right before Mike, Kendall Lewis, the BSK, is going to be with us. Man, we didn't even get in. I was ready to roll with Corey Kluber. We didn't even open the show. We just started talking about Cy Kluber because Kluber Lang knocked out Rocky in the 3rd round yesterday, baby. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Mickey was in the back going on his last breaths, and Rocky took a dive, baby. Came back and said, Mickey, we won. You lied. You lied. Corey Kluber Lang knocked him out, took care of business. But Kendall Lewis, as I said, I'm having some fun today. Kendall Lewis, the BSK, joins us next in just a few moments. We'll talk some Browns with him and Bengals. We'll get his thoughts. We haven't talked to him since that primetime clash last week. We'll look ahead to the Texans. Is Ben Tate unhappy? He says he's a little bit unhappy. Hey, man, you kind of played yourself into that position. But we'll talk about that with Kendall Lewis. Mike Brandenberry, as I said, from DidTheTribeWinLastNight.com. He's going to join us to talk about Cy Kluber, to talk about Michael Brantley and Victor Martinez and some free agency and all of that stuff. We'll talk Indians with Mike Brandenberry. BJ Rudell from Fantasy Football for Winners, of course, the author of Fantasy Football for Winners. He's with us every week. Today, no different. We'll get you ready for the latest slate of fantasy football action. Doug Plagens, voice of the Lake Erie Monsters, comes up on the back end just about 2 hours from now, about an hour and 40 minutes from now, to talk some Lake Erie Monsters hockey and so much more. That's right, Corey Kluber's the man. You can hear Aloe Black in the background. Perfect song to kick off the day. Corey Kluber, Cy Young Award winner, and much deserved here. Guys, we're rolling. Welcome to the Sports Fix. J-Rock, Jerry Myers, kicking things off, cracking the mic, opening up. Well, I can't open up the phones for you guys, but I will let you get in on the social media, and I will open up the phones on the back end of the show. Welcome in those of you listening live on TuneIn and TuneIn's radio app worldwide, on Spreaker and Mixler, and, of course, on our website, thesportsfix.net, as well. Welcome in the thousands of you listening around the world 24/7 on digital delay on places such as iHeartRadio, the world's largest internet radio provider, on iTunes, and Stitcher Radio, and SoundCloud, all of the various places you guys enjoy the show. Thank you so much for doing it, baby. Phone lines, as I said, not open. Facebook.com/thesportsfix. Tweet with us at thesportsfixCLE. Email us, thesportsfix@AOL.com. Let's take a break. When we come back, Kendall Lewis, the BSK, joins us. We'll talk some Browns football coming up next. Mike Brandenberry, BJ Rudell, Doug Plagens, all of that coming next. And hey, sit tight. I want to talk to you for a minute. I got to tell you, I've had some fun this week. I've been talking to you about DraftKings.com. I'm having some fun. Now, I may find myself getting a little bit addicted here. I may have to talk to you about a problem. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm having some fun. I'm going to talk to you about that and more. Don't go anywhere. The Sports Fix, just rocking and rolling. Do me a favor. Tell somebody else to tune in. Click share on whatever site you're listening to right now and tag us in it. Tell the world to tune in to the Sports Fix. When we come back, Kendall Lewis, the